Hello there. I hope you're all having a fine day out there. In these types of videos, I'm going to be expressing my overall thoughts on restaurants and my sort of history of going through them throughout the years. These videos can last about 3 to 10 minutes, depending on how familiar I am with certain restaurants and the fun story that go along with it. I'm going to start with McDonald's as one of the most well-known brands of anything, well, ever. I honestly have a hard time remembering anything that took place before my elementary days, so my very first McDonald's experience, I don't know. The only hints I knew is coming across the toys within the Happy Meals that my older brother owned. Some of the first of its collection being a Yoshi toy, in which I believe came from Super Mario 64 DS. One would press on a seat, and it would include a jingle from Yoshi's story where it goes like da 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 da. Another one was from Shrek, who was Donkey with a waffle in his mouth. The McDonald's that was located nearby my first house was one of those that was small and had a playground outdoors. It was until I was around 5 or 6 that I would eagerly tell my parents to take me to restaurants to both eat and play around in the playground for a decent amount of time. Around that time, I moved to a new house in which I still live to this day. It comes with the territory of when living in a new place, there was another McDonald's I would constantly go to on the regular. This one was way much better as the playground was indoors and was massive. There was another McDonald's that I would go to in which the playground was really awesome. It had these square things that one would climb on. Then there was some kind of foam bridge that one could crawl in. Next there was a mini maze with 2 slides included. Plus I had another section in which there was an arena space in which we could run around with. It was fun. During the early years, my brother and I would get the Happy Meals mainly because of the toys. We would constantly check the bottom of the box to see which toys they were promoting next. As I got out of the phase around when I was 8 or 9, I used to eat the cheeseburgers. You name it, the cheeseburger, McDouble, and the chicken nuggets. I wasn't capable of eating large food, plus my mother was one of those who would purchase cheap food just to save money. I wasn't too bothered with the idea at the time, I was just used to it. Plus I would eat playing at McDonald's, especially during school events. An example of this was during 2nd grade when I was in a basketball team in which we sucked. Does anyone remember the time of year in which McDonald's would team up with Monopoly to do some kind of sweepstakes? One would purchase items and there would be a sticker to peel on and it had a color, matching 3 of the same kind to get some kind of prize. It was fun while it lasted. Speaking of strange ideas, which I remember when they had a brief period of selling Fish McBites. They were really good, though I ain't sure why they stopped selling them altogether. It was a food item that got me to love tartar sauce in the first place. I am not kidding. Throughout the years, I realized that they had plenty of odd ideas in which they were later abandoned, like the time when they sold pizza or a pineapple burger. Yep. It was around 2012 or 2013 in which they would add those touchscreen computer things in which there would be puzzle games people can play. Plus, they modernized the playground to be more safe, in which I don't have too much of a problem with. They had a long rectangular table with paper in which people can draw or scribble in. I mentioned before that I used to be hyped when playing the playground as I was a kid, and I enjoyed fun. Naturally, I was around 12 when I gave up with the playground as it wasn't my thing anymore. Though it was fun watching kids play in there as it reminded me of my own past. One that I stepped away from as I was heading to the next phase of my younger years. Middle school. Deep, I know. McDonald's would be the place I would go to the most during that time, and at one point was my favorite restaurant, though it got a bit overshadowed around late middle school. Me and my brother would try more local restaurants as he enjoyed experimenting with various types of food. In fact, the closest burger joint nearby my middle school was a Dairy Queen, which could be a story for another time. I tried both the double quarter pounder and quarter pounder cheeseburgers, and they were delicious. They became a new standard for the burger I would buy each time I go there. Speaking of middle school, I remember one time when we were on our way back to our hometown, I came across this one McDonald's that was serving bacon McDouble. Something that was never sold in my place. It was alright, though it didn't help that my stomach was full before going there. Big Mac was a burger that would be shoved in my face in advertisements that I would never ate, as I found out it would to be, well, big. That was my young self speaking. So one day, when my school was hosting an after-school game night event, my mom just so happened to purchase a Big Mac, and I was underwhelmed at first. With something that had big in the title, I would imagine the burgers being larger, almost like something out of Fred Rockers. I accepted the harsh truth and enjoyed it regardless of the promotion, though later they will sell Grand Mac and Mac Jr., which I ain't sure it is still promoting. When I was heading through high school, my thoughts on McDonald's went downwards. I don't hate it, but there were other restaurants that had stolen my attention. If we're still talking about burger joints, Whataburger was the next big place for me. I will talk more about it another time, but to sum it up, people wouldn't stop talking about Whataburger as they would consider it the best place ever. I disagreed at first, but the more I went there, the more that it changed my mind. I would constantly hear people's opinions on restaurants, and it seemed to place Whataburger and Chick-fil-A on a high standard, while others would trash on McDonald's. I mean, they're not entirely wrong. There were other plenty of family restaurants that also interest me, like with Olive Garden, Fred Rocker, Taco Palenque, and others. I guess what truly happened is that McDonald's is quite basic compared to other food joints. There's a reason why McDonald's is cheaper than others, as the food doesn't have the same magic like with Whataburger. I also tend to finish meals really quickly as I'm a fast eater. I pretty much gave my entire story/history on McDonald's. What do I think of the food served there? Well, within the burger department, the food may be basic, but still tasty. I have not tried everything yet, but they mix in the ingredients where they don't overdo it, unless you ask that they do it, as it never feels too dry or too greasy when you purchase it. The touch that they add in the cheese, meat, and sauces add a sense of juiciness that adds to the flavor if you're willing to eat something from there, considering the fat and calories that include in everything. There isn't much I can go over with the fries, as they're just fries. In other words, they're tasty. While this doesn't fully apply to McDonald's, the drinks I enjoy are the orange High C and the blue Powerade. I sort of forgot that they also serve cookies from time to time. I don't purchase sundaes from McDonald's often, but when I do, it tastes good. One aspect I'm surprised I don't hear much talk about is the breakfast menu. These days, I barely prefer the breakfast options over the lunch options, just because there is more that I can choose from, as I adore biscuits. The only downside is that it's a picture swap for me. I usually have a hard time deciding on either to get a biscuit or a McMuffin, as they're both so good. Plus the McMuffins tend to have the logo on the bread and adds to the flavor. In case you're wondering, my preferred breakfast choice is the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles. The hash browns are tasty, but my gosh, the big breakfast with hotcakes there is so good. The pancakes in particular are the best from any restaurants within recent memory. That is saying a lot, as I lost a bit of love for pancakes in general. They were okay, though I had been more of a waffle guy anyway. That's pretty much all I have to say about McDonald's as a whole. I still enjoy it, though I admit that it's not the best burger joint out there. If I were to place McDonald's in a ranking list of burger joints, I would have put it through in the middle, though I ain't too sure if I'll still enjoy it when I get older, or not so much. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment down below on your current thoughts on McDonald's, and or any fun experiences you had there. Also, if there are other restaurants in which you're eager in myself doing a review on, let me know as well. With that all on the way, I shall see you on the next one. Bye.